Another edition of Marketing Unleashed. I am so excited you guys are here with us today. We get the best guests ever on this show, so it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be talking all about social audio today, and we want to make sure that you share this among the interwebs. Give us a share everywhere. And also, if you know somebody who's like, I don't know about this Clubhouse or Twitter Spaces thing, mention them down below. Let them know about this show, even if they can watch it on the replay. We would love to have them chat with us and ask questions. But as always, want to make sure that you guys know about this awesome. Is that the right thing? The pin planner? Is that what we wanted? Mm-hmm. Okay. So many URLs, so many bit.ly things. I know. Make sure you guys go check this out at bit.ly/pin planner 2021. Elisa, tell people what that is about, by the way.
Well, it's a new month, so you're probably wondering, what should I be taking advantage of in June for pinning? And so that's what you'll get. Plus, you'll get a tip for a way to kind of tweak your Pinterest account to make it work even better. It's always good to do a little something every month or so. We also have one for Instagram. Same thing. You don't want to miss those special events, trends, and holidays on your Instagram.
Awesome. So we are excited to have my friend Ramon Ray from smarthustle.com with us today to talk about social audio. He is going to be amazing. But we also want to do some shout out to our friends all across the globe. We've got Brian Farrell from the UK. He is tuning in. He says, "Good evening, y'all." They don't say that in the UK. I know they don't. You are mocking me, Brian.
That was for you.
It was. And we've got Carrie Rouse from Ontario, Canada, and Elisa's just waiting for me to mispronounce names. We have DJ Aloha from Hawaii. Oh, man, that sounds so nice to be there right now. And then we've got Karen from New Jersey. We've got Ashley from Seattle. All our friends are joining us today. Ramon, so glad you're here. Ramon, tell us a little bit, because we're probably introducing you to some new people here. What is it you do? And tell us a little bit about smarthustle.com, what it is, what it's all about.
Yeah, two things I do, how I earn my living. I think that's the best way to do it. Some people try to get too cute, and we have no clue what that means. But I work with very, very large brands to inspire and educate small business owners. That's the essence of what I do. So I have a community of thousands and thousands of small business owners, Main Street small business owners, who follow me and the silliness or hopefully information that I share with them on smarthustle.com. On the other hand, I'm blessed to work with many of the largest brands in the world who are trying to reach small businesses, and they partner with me for influencer campaigns, marketing, things like that. Also a speaker, writer, event producer, and more. So that's the summary of what I do, and it's smarthustle.com. It's a great blog, for lack of a better word, where you can find information just about every day that's really curated for your growing business. That's what I do.
Awesome. So, and you also have a podcast, correct? Don't you have a?
I do indeed. smarthustlepodcast.com.
Okay, very cool. And if you don't notice that, and Elisa pointed this out before, behind his head there, all those orange books, he is also an author. So when did that book come out? And tell people a little bit about it. I'm sure they can find it on Amazon, on your site, and all that places, but tell them a little bit about the book.
Yeah, the concept isn't definitely Celebrity CEO, celebrityceo.com. But the concept of that, Jeff, in short, is to build a community of fans that you can educate and nurture to make a sale or to buy something from you. That doesn't mean you can't do direct sale, doesn't mean you can't do postcards, doesn't mean you can't use fax machines, doesn't mean you can't use pigeons. But my model, taking a page from Seth Godin's model, is to build that community and then nurture them. And the second thing we often say is ask for a smile before you ask for a smell. So that's the Celebrity CEO concept of personal branding.
Awesome. Thanks, Ramon. And it's a great book. You guys need to check it out. Ramon, good friend. Love all his stuff. If you ever have a chance to see Ramon speak, he is amazing. He is very high energy. You can learn a lot from him. So I want to do some more shout outs from our people. Jennifer goes, "Hi, Ramon." And we have Rocky here saying hello as well. And so Jennifer also said, "I just saw you all over on Clubhouse lately." And that's right. I was over with Ramon a little bit. So tell us, Ramon, why should we invest in this weird social audio? We have video now. Why do we need social audio?
That's a great question. And so I think, let me start negative first. I think that everybody does not have to invest in social audio. In the same way, sorry, Elisa and Jeff, I'm going to have to say this. Everybody doesn't have to invest in Pinterest either. Sorry, don't kick me off the show.
All right, it's gone. We got to go, folks. Sorry about that.
So, but everybody does not see. I knew that would start something.
Yeah.
Everybody does not have to invest in every platform. I just want to fully disclose that. Me and Jeff and
Fair
Alyssa,
enough.
Lisa are tech people. You know what we do, right? But why you should invest though in audio, and of course you should invest in Pinterest. So I can come back to the show again. Why you should invest in social audio? I think a few things. One, it's new. So first mover advantage, we don't know where it's going to go. Imagine if 5 to 7 or 3 to 4 years it blossoms. Wouldn't you want to be one of the leading people in your space, leveraging the power of audio? Point number 2, I must say it sounds weird, but for many people getting ready with their hair and makeup and etc., it's a minor pain. You know, my wife and daughters and others, even me, you know, you put a shirt on. So it may sound silly, but social audio, it breaks through all of that. Am I right? Yeah. So meaning it breaks through all that. And then I think point 3 is that those who are having platforms of video, which is powerful, blogging, which is powerful. I just think social audio, Jeff and Alyssa, it's real time. So when the proverbial Elon Musk of your industry is talking, oftentimes you DM that dude or that gal on Instagram, or at least that's how it works on Clubhouse. They're ready. They're ready to do some engagement with you. So those are a few reasons I could think of. I'm sure I could say 97 more to make it 100.
Right.
So Ramon, I was looking at your website the other day because this is the first time we have met, and I really love that one of your the values for your company is to have fun. Are you having fun with social audio?
I am indeed. Now, so yes, I am having fun on social audio. Yes. I'll leave it at that. I am having fun. But I guess the reason I pause is because let's face it. So meaning we are in business, all of us, right? So in my case, like you all, I'm more on the education side of things. And I paused in fairness because sometimes it can be a pain. Sometimes this doesn't work, that doesn't work, the mic doesn't work. You're frustrated because I only have 500 followers. The other gal has 3,000 followers, things like that. But yes, the summary of that, I am having a blast and having fun. Yeah, and I must say, I've made many new relations to some pretty prominent people just from social audio alone.
So that's what I want to talk about a little bit too is, okay, let's talk about networking. So, you know, we've all been kind of stuck in our houses for a while, you know, and now it's starting to open up, you know, it's like, it is a hassle to go put on pants and actually, you know, leave the house. So networking, do you think it's one, how is networking? You mentioned you had connected with some cool people over there, and I have as well. But how have you that networking? How's it going? And give us some tips for that. But then, do you think it's also going to continue after everything's opens up, and we can still go to conferences? And like, is the time we're going to put in this Clubhouse thing going to still be around when I can go back to, you know, Tailwinds conference or whatever?
Yeah, you're right. I think that to answer that second part of that question, Jeff, I think that it's going to be tough. Again, you know, if I had to, you can ask me again in 6 months to a year. Let's see where all of us, you know, influencer predictions happen. But I do think in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, it'll peter out. It's no longer the hot guy or hot girl in the market anymore. So I think that's just the dynamics of anything. And I think some of the challenges are, of course, unlike something like a YouTube or a Pinterest, it's searchable, clickable, multi-dimensional. Clubhouse is just one thing. Now, Twitter Spaces has the advantage because it is a multimedia experience. It's built on Twitter. So I think that's the disadvantage of Clubhouse. Having said that, if I may I have it? I'll take 2 minutes, if I may, and share with you a story. Okay, thank you. Of how, if you'd have said no, I would have not given the example, and I would have left all your audience.
You would have done it anyway. I know.
I would have respected the platform and not given people the multi-million-dollar secrets that I'm about to give. So, but here's seriously, Jeff and Alyssa. Here's a story of what's happened. So there's a dude named Dave Kirpin. Dave Kirpin started several businesses, had a multi-million-dollar exit of one of his companies, and I've got to know him over the years, pre-Clubhouse. He's now in Clubhouse building a club. And by the way, what I'm sharing can go for Clubhouse, Twitter Spaces. The principle's the same, even Pinterest to some degree. Point is, he has one of the clubs on Clubhouse, building it. One of his partners on Clubhouse is Randy Zuckerberg. And their room is called Likeable Business. From that, I've done 2 things. He has an Ask Me Anything, Susie Orman, and other famous people he's been interviewing every Sunday evening. I've been a part of that, investing the time and energy to be there. Guess what? We're having a live event in July in New York, which I'm a keynote speaker at. So that's just a small example. Doing this on YouTube or doing this on these big mature platforms, it's hard. How can anybody get to the big dogs, right, of the day who've been there for years? But Clubhouse is so new. You know, Jeff C. and Alyssa and others, as it were, metaphorically, they're doing their little club. Only 30 people are there, 10 people. They see you. They see you. You don't know that they have 1 million followers on Pinterest, as it were. I'm trying to redeem myself by saying Pinterest more and more. So
Very
that's
nice
the way I
done.
see it. I think the relationships like that, especially that's the power, Jeff, I see, is that for the small brands, that doesn't mean it's not for everybody, but for the small brand, that intellectual property attorney, if they find that right audio room where every day they're speaking about immigration law and you're there, you're going to be seen much more you would than a bigger platform that's mature that already has millions on it, if that makes sense.
It kind of reminds me of like when Instagram first came out, being able to, there was like, you wouldn't have that friction if somebody was trying to email you or something. I could like go to like a Guy Kawasaki or a Seth Godin or a Ramon Ray and message them, and they would come back and they would talk to me, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I think your point of like, there's less friction to getting to those conversations, I think is true on Clubhouse.
Yeah. I also think there's another thing at play here too, where you mentioned quite rightly that we haven't been able to go network in person, go to these conferences, see these people that we usually see a couple times a year and build those relationships. So Clubhouse and other social audio could be kind of that bridge between, so that when we start back up again, it won't be like we're trying to make up for lost time or we like don't know people anymore. It might be just something that we need to do for now.
Mm-hmm. And I do think that off ramp, that thing about you have, like, to your point, you have the aspect of you're hearing a voice. I'm hearing, and it is Alyssa. Yes,
Alisa.
She answers to anything, really.
I do. I pretty much.
Alisa. Alisa. Okay, good. Got it. I just have to internalize.
Any old Lisa.
You got it. So, but to the point, you hear somebody's voice week after week, day after day. And I think there are on ramps. Many people, again, at some point, Clubhouse will say have direct DMs. I'm sure at some point they're building it. But for now, go to my IG, DM me, or check out my live stream that's on video. So I think there's on ramps and off ramps to the audio experience, especially once you hear that voice, there's a bit of intimacy there. You're hearing the person's voice. You feel like you get to know them, and it's alive. That's the thing about it. So.
That's a great point. So I want to bring up some stuff from our audience. And by the way, we've got Ramon here. So use him up. Use him. He loves it. So like anything about networking, about speaking, all that stuff, well, we've got to hear, ask your questions. We'll try to bring them up during the show today because we want to make this all about you guys and your questions. Jennifer says, just thinking about doing this new stuff makes me so tired. LOL, which is silly, I guess, as a marketer, but it feels so tiring, especially with Clubhouse, which doesn't record. So yeah, I have that feeling too. I do have a Rodecaster, which I have actually recorded stuff, and I know some other people have done it too. People are recording on Clubhouse, and kind of, I know. I recorded our thing, Ramon. I didn't even tell you, but yeah. So you can multicast stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing that kind of gets me. I feel like if I really wanted to go back to a time when I could only watch what was available live, I'm like, go back to 1987.
You weren't around in 87.
Oh, man. Yeah, junior high. It was a good time.
Yeah.
4 channels on the TV. So
do you remember, Elisa, when we used to fax our concerts? That was cool. We used to have like the 10,000 fax machines, and everybody would be faxing them. I'm just joking. That would have been horrible.
I do remember fax machines, though. I definitely do remember those. Mm-hmm. That weird paper. Yeah. So maybe I'm just not living in the moment enough, and that's probably a personal thing I need to work on. But tell me how you get around that feeling of, I'm going to miss this thing, or I can't get to this thing, or I'm just not in the, how do you deal with that? Just being all live.
I love that. And I'm not sure if I'm exactly answering the question. So if I'm not, bring me back. But Jeff and I, some networking we do in other platforms and other areas. One word that a mutual friend of ours gave to me is the word contentment. So again, I'm not sure if I'm taking this, which you didn't mean to ask.
It sounds like you're going the right way.
Okay.
Yep.
Good. So for me, talking general, getting away from audio and Clubhouse, there are so many tools available, as you all know. There's 10 popular tools, whatever it may be, around. So it can be dizzying, as the person you put in the feed said, Jeff. So I think that what I've tried to do is just the power of contentment. And I don't want to get all woo-woo, because that's just not my thing. I'm not one of those, let's all light a candle and breathe, as Jeff knows. But I think it's important, because to the small business owners, especially, and even the agency ones who may be listening to this episode, is that we can only do so much. So I've tried, there's been moments where I'm going to reach 2 followers on YouTube. I'm going to post every second on YouTube. And then I peter out. So, for me, I'm trying, Elisa, as of at least today. For me, I'm focused a lot on Facebook. That's my biggest audience, building my community, my email newsletter, a few other things, but I'm trying my best to say, Ramon, you're going crazy doing it all. Now, I do dip my toe into many things because as the three of us we're techie people.
Right.
Our clients and the community we work with expect us to know these things. But for my own brand, I'm like, you know what? I can't be posting every day to every platform. I just can't. I'm not Inc. Magazine. I'm not Gary Vee. I'm just not.
Right. Yeah. So Jennifer has a great question or point, I guess, and I'd love to hear you follow up on this. She goes, then the next step is, what do you do with that network? Now, you told the story where you went and from that relationship that you built inside a Clubhouse, and you knew him already, but it helped spur things on, and you went and you're doing this conference. So, and I see, and unfortunately, I think a lot of people do this. They say, oh, Clubhouse, new thing. I'm going to go to Clubhouse, and I'm going to get all these followers. They get the followers. It's like going viral on TikTok. For most people, like my son's girlfriend has gone viral on TikTok. She's not making millions. It's what you do with that network. So what would you tell people who are like, okay, I've got a network, or I want to go on Clubhouse or a social audio app to build a network? How do you get them from, that relationship to business and not being, like buy my stuff or enroll in my course, that kind of thing?
Absolutely. And here's what I've done, and this is more metaphorical, and we can talk longer about it to get into some really key points.
Sure.
But I think that how it's worked for me is, I'll say two things. Adding intense value. And I think it's Amanda Holmes of Chet International. One of you may know the name Amanda Holmes of her late father passed away. He was like a sales guru. And she has this concept, Dream 100. So Jennifer, thanks for asking the question. And my point being is this, is that regarding the adding value. So going back to the Clubhouse example, here's what I did, Jeff, because I was too scared that the Clubhouse spies would hear me recording. So I was madly typing live during these Ask Me Anything sessions that I'm referring to in the Clubhouse room I'm a part of. Guess what I started doing? Putting a LinkedIn or blog post together with every room. It's not my room. I'm not the host. The other dude is, but I'm adding value to his world and to the big dogs, Susie Orman and Randy Zuckerberg and others who are on there. So if it makes sense, kind of like we call it newsjacking, it's not the same, but meaning, let's say Jeff C is interviewing all the presidents. And let's say I happen to just do him a solid and I'm like videotaping it for him. He doesn't even ask me. So I don't know if that, let me pause there, Jeff, that first point. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say? Meaning, how can I add value? How can I serve Jeff or Elisa? They didn't ask me to, and at the 10th time, 20 times, oh, I'm going to be seen. Who's that guy again that keeps putting special drawings together off of each of our broadcasts? You're going to be seen because you're adding value. If that kind of makes sense what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I kind of also really love that idea of getting content ideas, and you've got a whole outline from what you're listening to, and you just have to put it together. That is brilliant.
Yes. Yeah. And especially Clubhouse, Alyssa, because that's what happens. As Jeff said, normal people and legal people can't record it. You're not, you can go to jail for that and be fined and in prison. In fact, many people are still in prison to this day, running from it's on America's Most Wanted Clubhouse edition. But the point the point is, yes, somehow because Clubhouse, there's so many gems. So imagine being able to tweet or do pictures or photos. And then the other thing I wanted to add regarding what Jennifer said about how do you leverage the network, I'm also slowly learning, being almost 50 years old, we all can learn, is I can only serve and be a part of and invest my time in so many people. So let's take me and Jeff. You and I are just meeting in a new relationship, right? Me and you, Elisa. But let's take Jeff as an example. Only so many people in the world. There's tons of social media people just like me and him. We can invest our time anywhere. But over time, if Jeff calls me, it's a yes. And I know he does the same for me. So my point is that's the other way that you network. You can't serve 1,000 people. You just can't.
Right.
But unfortunately, you choose, Dream 100. Who are the top 25, 50, 100 people, for whatever reason, that I want to invest my time with and grow with them. Yeah. And these things may change. A year from now, I'll probably call Jeff. He won't receive my call. He'll say, sorry, I'm talking to somebody else.
To me all the time. Yeah. So I'm hoping you'll kick Jeff out of your 100.
You need to change your number, Elisa. That's what you need to do. So this perfect example of what you were just talking about. So like Elisa and I, and somebody asked like, why are we doing this show? Because every other show we're doing, not just Pinterest, we're doing stuff that we think you're going to find valuable, that'll help your business, help you grow, because, there's a ton of stuff that we need to learn as entrepreneurs. But she goes, hey, we need a topic. And we said, okay, how about the social audio? And I go, I know the person. because Ramon's been on my show. I've heard him talk. He's had me do his things, and he's the first person I thought of because I know he could handle it. I know he's got a great setup. There's probably a ton of people I could call. I mean, Ian Anderson Gray is a friend of mine. He could have come on and you know, but I knew Ramon. It was because we've had this relationship, and that's why we asked him to be on the show. So that's the power of networking and doing stuff for other people, appearing on their shows, all this stuff that Ramon just said. So yeah, I think networking is. My business would not be where it is today if I did not have masterminds and being able to network. It just wouldn't. Right. It wouldn't happen.
That's right. Yeah. And if I can extend that, Jeff, I'll just extend the power of networking, I think, which is pretty interesting. We all then have relationships. There's big dogs, I call them, you know, really famous people, you know, really like globally famous, as it were, or let me rephrase it, not globally famous, but you mentioned Guy, for example. Everybody in the world doesn't know him, but he's famous in our circles. So what I'm trying to say is that you build strong relationships with people, you build trust. Then that's how, again, talking about Jennifer, she asked a great question. I can say, Elisa, you know me, we've worked together. I heard you know Barack, you know Donald, forget the politics of it. You know, my point is, could I come with you and sit in on that chat? So it's not like selfishly, but it's about trust. I've served her now for a year or 2 or 3. You know, Ramon, I'd be happy to have you come on here. Let me slip you in the back door. So it's not direct like that, but that's then how you build networks with people, and you add value to each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have a question, though, because we have a lot of people who are listening who do marketing for their business, but I wouldn't say they consider themselves to be a marketer. They're doing it out of necessity, right? Because they don't have a team. Maybe they're a custom jewelry maker. Maybe they're a photographer. So for people like that, what should they be looking to get out of Clubhouse or another social audio platform?
Sure, and especially if we're focusing on social audio, I was going to go with video and other things, but I'll stick to social audio. Here's what I would say. Find small rooms on Clubhouse or Twitter Spaces or whatever the social audio may be. Smaller rooms. Don't look for the rooms of 10,000 people with Grant Cardone and everybody else.
Right.
Great people, go to those, but you'll just be too drowned out. Go to the room, 50 people, 75 people, 10 people. And start to show up on a regular basis. I promise you, after the 10th time, 5th time, 20th time, you'll hear people like a Jeff, right? Or Elisa. They've been hosting the room. Hey, Jennifer's here again. Marty's here again. Good to see you. They'll have connected with you. And then that's where you just start adding value. Then the second thing, when you get an opportunity, like I have today, to be on Jeff and Elisa's platform, when you have the opportunity, especially in the audio, to be put to the stage, 99%. 95% drop values, drop bombs of knowledge, serve. Yeah, everybody wants a promo. Use an example here. Jeff put the smart hustle, but meaning the point is that you do more of this, you build your brand. It's not about selling that day. It's about over time, the 3rd interview, the 4th interview, the 20th interview, the 50th. This is how I built my career. And I'm sure Jeff and Elise, I'm sure you can testify. It's not the one day. I've been doing this for 20 years, just pouring and adding value. And my career has blossomed, and I must say, by God's grace, been a success.
Yeah. I could trace everything back to when I was on Google Plus and I was making I was contributing, like you said, to Peg Fitzpatrick's post, and come to find out, she runs all the social for Guy Kawasaki. And you know, what is it? 10 years later, I'm now producing his podcast. I mean, it's stuff. Wow. It's stuff doesn't happen overnight. It's what, like you said, it's like this slow. You're continuing to add content, all this stuff. I wanted to bring up this comment because I think this is good, and you kind of touched on it, but I wanted to let you expound on it a little bit more. Andrea says, I'm on Android and literally just created an account at 10 p.m. last night. What should I do first? And you kind of mentioned that, going on there and getting on stage, having questions ready, have a pad. But what else would you tell Andrea to do now that she's just new on Clubhouse?
Yeah, I think the first thing you should do, Andrea, if you want to get millions of followers, is follow me. I think that's the first thing you should do. That's Ramon Ray. No N-Y, no Y, not Ramoncito, just Ramon Ray. Follow me. That's one. If you want to be a success in life, Jeff and Elisa, no, I'm just teasing you. But so that's one. 2, you'll start to follow people organically. That's 2. 3, go to some clubs that identify of what you like. It may be 5 clubs, 10 clubs, 20 clubs. Sign up for all the clubs. It's okay to click them. The algorithm will start to feed to you then rooms that you can be a part of. And it's going to take you a while, Andrea. But my point is, start to follow rooms, start to follow people, start to join clubs. Those are the 3 things you should do. And then the algorithm will take over. And over time, you can begin to say, here's what I do. And I've mentioned, I'm not doing a self-promo for it. They don't need me to do it, but I'm just shouting them out. The Likeable Business Club, talking about Clubhouse. Every Sunday, ask me anything. Famous people. I invest the time to be there from 8 to 9 or 9 to 10. That's an example. So I can't. Now, some people, if you have the time and you're at home all the time, you have a stationary business and you can invest the time and you're not at any of the platforms, be on Clubhouse 16 hours a day if you want. It will pay off. Your user count will grow. But for those who can't, just invest. Okay, Friday, 2 p.m., Tuesday, 6 p.m., and Saturday mornings at 5 a.m., Saturday morning mindset. I'm going to show up and be a part of that.
Right.
You'll be noticed.
Well, like Brian, who we brought up his comment earlier in the show, Lisa and I, we were trying, I can't remember, it may have been Twitter Spaces, maybe in Clubhouse. After some of our lives, we would say, hey, by the way, we're going to be doing a room. Let's go and we can continue the conversation. He was one who showed up and we were able to talk to him. And now I recognize him every time he shows up. I know his face.
Right.
And there's power in that. Go
Jeff,
ahead.
If you were in the UK planning a wedding, you would know who to call for your photography, right?
Who would you call? Lisa, tell me who you would call. Brian, you're saying, if I'm getting married or doing anything else in the UK, Brian is the guy I call.
Yeah.
He is the guy you call, Brian.
And if you need any jewelry for your wedding, you would bring up our friend Sally Howe, and she even said, yes, love the smaller rooms, anything without millionaire in the title. That is true. Very true. And to be honest, I love those intimate rooms too. Like if you come off a live or it's something like there's some really great Pinterest rooms that we've seen. And I know Elisa's been in those.
And sometimes Pinterest employees will show up and drop little nuggets in there. It's pretty cool.
Right. So there's a couple people, and Carrie is one of them, but also Rocky's mentioned this too. They're trying to get their minds around this social audio because they haven't been onto it. Some people are like, so is it a live podcast? Kinda, it can be, but can you let's explain the basics of it again. Some people who just tuned in. So Ramon, I'll let you do that because you are much more eloquent than I am.
Oh, thank you. I'll try my best. Do it right now. So take your phone, or take your iPad, which is upstairs charging. Take your phone, or your iPad. Download the appropriate app. Talk about Clubhouse, Twitter, whatever it is. What's that?
Which one should you start with?
Whichever one you like, Android or iOS.
Yeah.
Or Twitter or Clubhouse. No preference on that. Download the app. And what you will start to do once you sign in, you will then be prompted which room. I'll talk about Clubhouse, for example, for this to get the exact ring. You'll scroll. It's called a hallway. You'll scroll. And based on the few things you selected, are you, I don't know, green or red? Do you like donuts or pecans? Are you whatever? Do you live in the West Coast, East Coast? Whatever they're asking, they try to find rooms that are best for you. So you start scrolling. Then you will find a room that fits your fancy. They're talking about how to milk cows faster in the middle of New York City. Always wanted to know about that. You click that. You will now be entered into the room to start hearing a conversation about how to milk cows faster in New York City. Now the algorithm knows you probably like milk, you probably like cows, and you probably like New York City, probably a bit crazy as well. And will begin to feed you things like that. This is a terrible example, but I hope you all get it. Download the app, go through the rooms and do the scrolling and fill out the profile.
Right.
Go through the rooms and start to find things that are of interest to you on Clubhouse. The algorithms are very intuitive, and then start to follow the right people. That's the way to start. But yes, it's just like this, a conversation you're hearing with your ears. It's just you can't see people can't see you. And there's the concept of raise your hand to go on stage and ask a question, concept of punching people's profiles. They're like little icons, and following them, and they can follow you. After that, you'll be away on your own, just like riding a bike, and you'll be fine.
And make it clear that you do not have to talk. You could go in there and listen the entire time. And a lot of people do that. I mean, a lot of people just go in and it's like a live broadcast. But if you have a question, you can do that. Now, there has kind of been a trend that I've seen some people, like, they do their really quick bio and trying to, like, get them to do that. I would not do that personally. I like, if people are interested in me, they can click over and they can follow me that way. So I would... Like if you, like, let's say you do enter a room, like I got to get on stage with Jane Goodall. Very, very cool. I took a screenshot of that one. And so you want to be ready with the question. You don't want to go like, "Hey, Miss Goodall, I like what you do with them monkeys."
love
You know, no, you don't want to do that. You want to be like, have a question. So how do you feel like the environment has changed since you were a kid, or what? You know, whatever. You have a question ready. So I always have a pad when I'm ready and a question ready on my lips. So if I do get called, that I'm ready to say something kind of interesting.
Let me add to that what you just said. I think it's so brilliant, so smart. You mentioned Jane Goodall, for example, letting you do the monkeys and apes and all these kind of things.
Right.
So here's what I highly recommend. What you said is so brilliant because there's three kinds of people on Clubhouse. I'm not sure how much time we have here, but three kinds of people on social audio. Okay. One of the kind of person, let's say it's you, Jeff. And Jeff, if you don't mind, if you want to put back the other view, I just like to see you because then I can see when I'm doing this. I'll be able to act this out a little better. So I'm looking at Jeff. You know, in Clubhouse, you can only see the icon, but oh, Jeff. Thanks for having me. Oh, man, I haven't asked the question yet. When I was growing up, Jeff, I used to follow you all the time. I'm so excited to be here. Kids, come here. Now, Jeff has 5,200 other people. It's Jane Goodall. He said, what's your question? And I've taken 75 seconds, kind of like a Baptist church or something. And I'm not Baptist, but to, preach. Anyhow, I'm getting way off the reservation. Point I'm trying to make, Jeff, and you can pull me at any time, Jeff. You know I have problems with that.
You're good. You're good.
Say, Ramon, come to order. But point I'm trying to say is that what Jeff just said is the way to build relationships. And I'll just say the positive way instead of the negative. And just underlining, ask the question. Short, concise, to the point. If at the end, and I'm Ramon Ray, whatever it is, you do that 3 or 4 times, the Jeff, let's say, for example, the moderator, they will see you and just call you up. Jeff, it happens to me all the time. I don't even raise my hand sometimes, but sometimes there's no questions. So the person knows, okay, Ramon's in the room. Ramon, what's your question? They know I'm not a troll. They know it's going to be smart. I've earned that reputation. So I just want to echo that point, how to ask a question and a value and not try to, or the second type of person is the person who wants to, like, they're short bio the whole time. Hey, my name is Ramon Ray. You can follow me at, ramoncita.com and, blah, 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 blah. Please buy my book. Blah, blah. It's too much.
Right.
So I'm done.
Yeah.
No, but
or they ask for questions and someone comes on with a statement or to kind of try to take over and teach what they want to teach, which, that's when you need to have your own room. Like what you want to do is add value through that discussion.
Yeah. So I know that you were so excited about Clubhouse. You actually bought, because for a while it was just iOS and you were Android. Well, now you don't have to have that problem because they have released, I think it's still in beta, so maybe it's still a little clunky, but you have that option now for an Android user, and I believe somebody was already on there and tried it last night. Yep. So that's opened it up even more. So right. I still think going on there, checking it out, listen, do all that stuff. The way that people connect to you is they do tie it into your Instagram account. On that kind of topic, let me pull up this question because it was really great. It was very specific. Oh yeah, here it is from Tracy. She goes, "Hello, how would I be able to benefit using social audio as I am a crochet pattern designer?" Very specific. You'd be like, okay, can't see my crochets. Why would I want to be on social audio? Ramon, what do you say to Tracy here?
Sure. Tracy, part of this answer is going to come from my friend. He's such a close friend, I don't know his name. Marcus Sheridan, who I'm sure Jeff knows as well. Yeah. Marcus Sheridan, his book, They Ask You Answer. So crochet pattern. There has to be, and I'm sure there is because my wife does knitting and crocheting and things like that, a vibrant community of people who are either just starting out, who have a ton of questions. What needle do I use? What yarn do I use? I'm trying to crochet underwear. I'm trying to crochet pants. All kind of questions to asking. You should be the one to answer it. Or you have experts that are maybe asking, and I don't even know what they would ask, but patterns or things like this. So my point is, you hang out in those rooms, and then how you can add value to it. Hey, listen, what's the person's name again, Jeff?
It's Tracy.
Stacy. Yeah. Tracy. Yeah. Hey, by the way, I'm Tracy. If you want these 99 tips, 4 tips, just DM me. Do that. So that's my short tip. Everybody has questions. Everybody doesn't know how to do something. And if you're the one who can add value, that's to your point, Jeff, of the Instagram to say, hey, listen, DM me, blah, blah, blah. I'll send you my, whatever it is, my little free gift exchange for the email. Then going back to the celebrity CEO concepts, you're building up your community, building up your fan base. Out of the 1,000 people, they're not going to buy, and that's okay. But X% will buy. And then Tracy, you'll be the crochet 10x crochet person, and you can crochet for me and Jeff and Elisa some hats or socks or something.
Yeah, and so Sally even
Yeah.
Pants. I need pants. Yeah. Sally said we've had some great jewelry discussions on Clubhouse. So even stuff like that, like makers and creators, where you could find your tribe and you can go in and talk to each other about stuff that you're struggling with or what you found success with. And like Ramon has said, this entire talk is giving value and giving back to people and then being known as a source of value. Holy cow, that's amazing. And something else that's amazing I want to bring up is do not forget our Pinterest planner at bit.ly/pinplanner 2021. Tons of great stuff in there. You want to make it, it's a great resource. And also
Jeff,
we have
I'm curious,
the
is the
Instagram
Pinterest
one.
planner free or is it cost something?
It bills Ramon's account, so feel free
No,
to
seriously,
go. No, it's free. It's totally free.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was going to say if it was cost something, I wanted to buy a few copies and give it away. But if it's free,
No,
then
it's
that's
free.
okay.
Yeah, but we'll charge you for it if you want us to. So you
Yeah,
can also
right.
go
No,
to
you will.
you can also go to bit.ly/instaplanner 2021 to get the Instagram version of that planner. Yes, Elisa, you're going to
Okay,
say
I've got a
something.
question. I've been
Okay.
dying to ask this question. Okay,
Go.
so I'm Tracy, and I'm going to talk about knitting, crocheting, and all that good stuff. I want to do it, but I don't have a following. Like, I don't have a following on Instagram. I don't have one on Facebook. Can I still use Clubhouse? Is anyone going to show up?
Good question.
No one will show up the first time. It'll be empty, you by yourself, with maybe a few spammers or creepy guys. However,
Great.
start first. Now, Lisa's like, great, okay. Start first, though, by going to the clubs, joining the rooms, the creator clubs, the Etsy clubs, the Shopify, whatever there's a huge market for it. Start to do that first, then your following will grow. So I would tell people, don't try to be a Jeff or a Lisa first. Don't start there. Well, I'm here to share. I have all this knowledge. If you're starting with zero, you got to pay your dues. Listen, add value. Just be in there. Support other people. Compliment the speaker before you comment. Be a good human. And then it may take you 3 months, 6 months, whatever the time may be. Then it will grow. And remember, though, we're talking about social audio today, but this doesn't live in a vacuum. Social audio to tweet, Twitter to social audio, social audio to Pinterest, Pinterest to blog. So not saying, going back to our earlier, be content, you can't do everything.
Right.
But social audio is one tool. So you may want 3 tools that have a nice blend of stuff. Hey, you're on Clubhouse. By the way, go to crochet whatever it is.com and look at my videos I post on YouTube every single day. That's how you can blend those back and forth.
I would also, one of the things I would do is, I know a lot of you, especially the makers and creators, are in a lot of different Facebook groups where they support each other and do some of the stuff there. A great way to do this, and this is a great way we've done with masterminds before, is ask people in there like, hey, would you, I'm getting ready I would like to go on Tuesday in Clubhouse and kind of do a conversation about crochet. Would you guys like to come in there with me? And maybe 5 of us can go in there, and even if nobody shows up, we could talk about it and it'd be kind of fun. We could hear each other's voices instead of just, typing inside of a Facebook group or something. That would be a way to start some momentum as well. So I think that would be a kind of a cool thing to do. Stacy asked this question. She goes, Apple versus Android for Clubhouse. I have a cell for each, but really know how to use my Android. Apple's been around a little bit longer, so I would say, and they're pretty similar. And I don't think is Apple in beta still, Ramon? I don't know. What would you do?
Not sure. As far as the Clubhouse, I'm not sure. I know Android is probably for sure, but they're growing it. They're
it'll be fine. So whatever floats your boat, I would say. So you have another question, Elisa? I saw you trying to talk, and I talked.
Oh, no, I'm good. I was just reacting.
Okay.
Do you use any special equipment though, or you just use your phone and hold it up to your face?
Oh, well, I'll talk first in general. I thought you meant in general. There's 2 kinds of equipment I have. One is the equipment that I have, as I'm sure both of you have, in my drawer, overwhelming, that I haven't looked at for years, still in the box. There's that equipment. But then no, for overall, I have just my equipment here in general. But no, if you're talking about Clubhouse, just my iPad, as Jeff mentioned, and a good pair of Jabra headphones. I just use that because I can, just comfortable for long term. But beyond that, just my phone. So no special tools. But again, there's people who could. Now, I know there's shows even being done on Clubhouse. There's one I'm a part of on Mondays called Baby Shark Tank, where we give hundreds and thousands of dollars to startups. It's a crazy show. But the point is, no. But there's people, I'm sure you all, Jeff does this, and probably you, Elise, a bit more than I would need to, but whatever you call the mixing tools to add audio and all that. So those who are hosting it, it's a pretty cool experience to be able to add in sound and things like that.
Unless there you go.
My man, there you go.
Yeah, yeah. So I do. The cool thing is you can, like with a Rodecaster, like I hook up my phone and like use my good mic when I'm on Clubhouse, and it. But you don't need to do that when you're first starting out. I wouldn't even worry about it. Like Ramon says, there's some stuff you just don't need to do. So yeah.
And the only thing I do ask those, please. Okay, I'll just finish this. I'm going to say, please just don't have noise in the background. There's nothing worse than, hey, I'm Melinda, and I have the best tip of the day. I just wanted to tell you that.
Yeah, stop, Elisa. Oh my gosh.
There's nothing worse than that. Go ahead, Elisa, please.
Just helping. Well, something that I've noticed, and I think we've talked about it too, is like resetting the room. So especially because it's live, people aren't typically coming in at the beginning. If they come in a few minutes in, you might want to introduce yourself every few minutes or so, let them know what the topic is. And this is really like if old-timey radio, right? If you're listening to Fresh Air on public radio on the air, she's going to introduce her guest again. If you're just joining me, my guest is, and we're talking about this. It doesn't have to take long, but it gives people context when they drop by in the middle.
Yeah, I love that. And that's a great point. I think that's where, as you get better at it, and we're not saying being perfect here, but I must say, as you begin to host the rooms, you could have a little script, not that you're reading it, but to help you remember key points, like you have done, right? Which is a good model of it. You have a little promo in the middle of it. Hey, just to remind you, download the planner, things like that. That's great. So I think resetting the room is important. And then the other thing I'll add to that, Elisa, about resetting the room, acknowledge people. Now, if you have a big room of a lot of people, you can't. But I know I try to. Let's say me and Jeff are on a Clubhouse room, and Elisa's in the audience. Hey, Elisa's here. Thanks for joining, Elisa. Whether she comes and speaks or not, she appreciates that. She feels seen.
I do.
So
thank you.
That's the kind of thing. You're welcome. That's
Elisa,
the kind of
I didn't
thing
even know. Elisa here today? Oh,
yes,
she is. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
He's
So
over
can we dig into that a little bit more about how do you actually prepare for a room?
Yeah.
I imagine you don't just pick up your phone and go. You have an idea. What else do you do?
Ramon can.
Sure.
He can do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure he could, but I bet he doesn't.
Yeah, well, I won't answer that for Jeff. Yeah, I do actually. I don't, but let me give the point for the dear people listening to us who need the help and advice. So, a few things to prepare for social audio. I think one, to Jeff's point, I think Jeff made it, as I've done for some of my rooms, inviting people what's called to be moderators with you. So you're not alone. You invite 5 to 10 people, maybe 5 can't show up or whatever it is, but inviting people with you, that's one. I think 2, knowing even just a little bit the bios of those who are joining you in the room. That's point 2. So you can nicely give a short intro to people. Hey, Jeff C, blah, 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 blah. That's 2. I think point 3, the aspect is before you call upon people, oftentimes it's nice just to click on their faces there and know who you're bringing up to make sure you're not bringing up a troll. You can't really tell 100%, but you can get a sense. That's point 3. And I think 4, definitely get that kind of script ready. Say for an hour show, just remind yourself, beginning of the show, 10 minutes in, 20 minutes in, 45 minutes in, closing, the key 2 or 3 points you want to say. That's tip number 4. 5, I like what you said, Elisa, and you're right. Some clear call to action. We're here to make money, right? We're here to run a business. So I think a call to action is nice, not to sell right then through it, but to build your funnel. Hey, thank you all for joining. Just a reminder, go to my Instagram, click on my face, and if you DM me the word Jeff, you're going to get, or whatever, or Lisa, whatever it may be. So some call to action to build your list. Yeah, and I think I'll stop there. I think that's really the things. Oh, and a few other things people have said, Elisa and Jeff. I haven't done this so much, but they're more mindful, I think. There's many people who are blind on Clubhouse are using it more, I think. And so there's things like, my name was Ramon, or I'm Ramon for those audio impaired,
right,
and the blue sweater. I'm complete. I'm done. So I wasn't sure if people were doing that because they have like the NPR inside them.
Right.
Hi, my name is Ramon Ray, and I'm complete. I don't know. Or are they doing it really for good etiquette? Either way, it can't hurt to do that stuff. It's just after a while, I'm like, it gets a bit much.
I know. I've seen it. The other thing I think, I don't know if you mentioned this or not, I can't remember. So many good information you just shared, is that to tell the time at the beginning, like we're going to be on here for 45 minutes because that, and also say, hey, we've only got 15 minutes left. Having that clock, because when Clubhouse first started, I remember I was on it forever, and I was like, I spent an hour, and I probably got 2 minutes of good content, and I'm like, this is gonna kill me, so I can't do it. So I think having that like time, like, hey, we're gonna come together. Like when we went live on Clubhouse after our show, we said, hey, we're gonna be on there for like 20 minutes, and we're just gonna talk, and then we'll leave. So having that set up, I think, is good. This is a great point from Rocky. He goes, I think you may be touching on this today, but with Clubhouse, do we try to gain followers then? So like when Ramon, when you go live, do all your followers get notified, or how does that work?
Yeah, if Clubhouse has been advancing their features and they have a way, so no, they're not well, within the Clubhouse app, your followers, I believe, can be notified in some way to alert you. Ramon wants to start a room about XYZ. That's one. Right. Two, you can ping people directly into the room. That's point two. But Clubhouse does have the share feature where when you go to your room where you are, you click on I think it's called share feature, and then you can start to post a link directly outside the platform, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. So that's how that works when you go live. But yes, there is some algorithmic and don't forget the hallway. That's how it works. So people who are in the hallway are scrolling, who follow you, you follow them, or the topic is of interest to them, you'll begin to be populated and promoted in the hallway. But I believe there's some, and Paul, the founder, I forgot the other guy's name, there's some algorithmic way if you get somebody who has 10,000 followers versus no followers and all those things. I believe, as I understand it, it does help with that. So that's where I mean by gaming the system, not in a bad way, but hence like the room Jeff and I were on, right? Hey, Jeff, can you join me? A few others, can you join me? Nobody wants an empty room. So even if it's us five, emotionally, you just feel better.
And also, if when you do get up on stages, and you mentioned this before, but I wanted to kind of, the more you're on asking those questions that are good, the more followers you will get, because people, like if I'm up on stage with Ramon, that gives me sort of value. Like Ramon thought he saw that I was there, and he had me come up on stage. So like even if you're on stage and like Elisa and I are together, or we go on and Ramon and Lisa and I are together, then people usually will they'll click on your profile, and then if there's something catches their eye, they'll follow you. So like when I jumped in followers when I was on stage with Jane Goodall. No reason other than I was on stage with Jane Goodall. I mean, they thought, oh, this guy, he must be like, a doctor or something. I'm like, no, I just fell in the door here. So, but that there is something to that, and there is always social proof that when people see your following numbers, they're like, oh, okay, he must know what he's talking about. He's got this much followers. So there is it, but I would not let that. I would not try to game that. I would go and, just like we've talked about the entire time, talking and providing value, giving of yourself on the platform will pay dividends. So
yeah. And I think it does take time, Jeff. I mean, listen, I'll full disclosure, I have 1.9 followers on Clubhouse. I don't think it's a lot, but it is what it is. So is it going to grow? I'm sure. But again, I'm only on it now twice a week, unless I'm asked to be on otherwise. Right. I haven't committed as much time, but Facebook still, though, I'm on that all the time. That's just where I'm trying to put my energy to.
So, and Lisa mentioned this before, but when you go live for those 2 times a week, what do you do to promo that? Do people just know you're going to be on those days, or do you have like an email that automatically sends out? What are you doing for that?
And let me qualify. This is kind of the music, if you have it ready, Jeff.
Somewhere,
whatever the music. Yeah. So, but it's that. So I'm going for other people's rooms. So it's other people leading the room. I'm joining them because I've been in rooms, Jeff, with 4,000 followers, 4,000 listeners, and I'm in the mod section. So that's what I mean. It's not remote hosting per se, only because I've tried it, Jeff, and I may go back and do it. It's just to our point. For us, very small businesses, us tiny people, talking about myself here, I can be the king of Pinterest in my community, the king of Twitter in my community, the king of LinkedIn in my community, the king of Clubhouse, the king of Facebook. But it's hard to be the king or queen of all of them. So I've realized for me, Clubhouse is nice, but Ramon, as you can kind of know, we work together, Jeff. Video's my thing. I like, show, hey, I'm doing this. Clubhouse is good. But since I'm not like a local consultant trying to get 2 or 3 clients, which Clubhouse is great for, I'm about, as you know, my game is more so massing a following, and part of my business is reselling that and getting sponsorships. So for me, I could do it, but the long-term game, and I'll tell you a secret, Jeff, and Elisa, nobody knows this. I'm putting together like a small script for a TV show. It probably is going to go nowhere. It probably will fail, and that's okay. But who knows? We'll see. So
that we can say we had him then before he blew up on network TV. We had him. So
okay. So I got a question before we go too far. Okay. Is there a magic time limit? So like on Facebook Live, you kind of want to go for 15 minutes, I think, to get people in the show, right? Before you decide, yes, this is working. No, it's not. Is there a magic time for Clubhouse? Is it
There's no magic time like when it will cut you off, as far as I know, except
like you wouldn't want to be on for 5 minutes, right?
Right, I understand. No, I understand. Yeah. So, but what I can see based on my unscientific observation, 2 hours 90 minutes is a sweet spot because I find that 30 minutes for my rooms I found is just too short. By the time you reset the room, getting people come 5 minutes later. So like the rooms that Jeff and I and others have been on, I try to do it for about an hour. I think that's a good time to have the audience build up a bit.
Okay.
But guess what? I've seen rooms that have gone. You may have heard this. There was a room that went on for 30 days straight. I think it was 30 days.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Was there anyone in there all that time?
Yes, and I know the people who hosted the room. You know, they I think they had it afterwards. Dub gave them some soap. I'm joking, but 30 days straight they were hosting the room.
Yeah, that's a little too much. Yeah. And one thing I had to do, and I'm horrible about this, but if you do install Clubhouse on your phone, you will get notifications all the time. So if you want to stay sane, and it was FOMO big time. Like, oh, Ramon's on. I got to get in there. Oh, Alicia's on. I got to get in. And so I would leave those notifications on, and you could not go through a work day. I mean, and I was like, Molly Mahoney's on there again? I'm like, how? You know, and so I had to, you just do yourself a favor, turn it off, find those times like Ramon has done, and going in twice a week. Otherwise, you will go batty with notifications.
Yes. I log out of Facebook on my phone, Jeff. I log out. I just log out on my phone, iPad, but I log it. I can't keep up.
So we have about 10 minutes left. So if you want to cut off Elisa so she can't ask any more questions, ask them in the comments so I can bring them up and totally not let her ask her question.
Okay, well, since you're stopped talking, who are some of your favorite personalities or rooms to follow? I think, if a lot of people are just joining, they want to know, all right, who do I really need to follow?
Yes, I would highly suggest people follow Dave Kerpen, Kerpen, Dave Kerpen, and join the Likeable Business Club. If anybody who does that and DMs me, I'll send you a copy of Celebrity CEO. The first 1 or 2 people hearing this, and you do that, I'll send a copy or 2 or 3. Maybe I'll do 5. Who knows? My book. So the Dave Kerpen of the Likeable Business Club is one. And I think I'll shout out him. There's so many great people on there that I followed and learned from, and many of them are just icons on a screen. Sarah McCord, it's another one. I'll shout out. Sarah McCord does some pretty great work, but there's so many great people that I think I followed and appreciated what they're doing.
And the cool thing is, the more you dive in, you got a cat on your head. The more you dive into Clubhouse, the people that you may not have known about before, there's a whole sea of people like, these people are really smart. How have I not heard them speak? I know Ramon and I we almost like collect speakers like they're, coins or something, because good speakers are like, you model yourself after them. And so, you can find a lot of great people that you may not have known of. They may not have huge followings over on Clubhouse, but they're giving great stuff. The other thing would be is, remember, it doesn't cost anything to give advice on Clubhouse. And remember that there's some people who are giving some horrible advice over on Clubhouse too. It's like anywhere else. So don't just go out and if somebody says, yeah, you need to, quit your business and just do Clubhouse for 30 days straight. Make sure you have your thinking cap on, I guess, as you go in there.
And Clubhouse, Clubhouse keeps you humble. That's for sure. To your point. I mean, you and I, and I'm sure Lisa try to be relatively humble as we can. My wife will say I'm the most arrogant person she knows in the world. But beyond that, is that, listen, it keeps you humble because to your point, Jeff, that's my point about the new relationships. Man, I'm like, whoa, I thought I knew about personal branding. This chick or this guy, whoa, she is dropping some science. I'm like at her feet. So to your point, I say that in a good way. Really, the world's so big and you think you're this or that, accomplish this, you go on the other platform, especially Clubhouse, because it's so new and you can hear people in real time. You're like, whoa, let me write that down.
So Denise says this, and this is great. So Denise goes, this has been very helpful as I am a new member of Clubhouse, but haven't entered any rooms yet. Now I feel more confident to participate. Well, that's all Ramon Ray. So you need to follow him and DM him like he said. You need to follow smarthustle.com. He does some great IG stories. His Saturday posts are always fun. So make sure you guys check him out. But we do have a few more minutes. So did you want to ask another question, Lisa? I know you did.
Of course I did. Yes, I did. So Ramon, you have been wonderful talking about social audio, but you've also dropped a couple times that you're really focusing on Facebook. So, if we have any other questions about social audio, that's cool. But what's got you so into Facebook?
Yeah, I think it's just because that's where I found the most of Ramon's audience is. Facebook, meaning compared to Clubhouse, Facebook, IG, I do a story. over 100 views. Now, for me, some people may be like, I get 10 million, but I know most people get 2 or 3. So for me, that's where my people are. And so that's the reason why. That's just, I just found on Facebook for today is where I can keep put my energy, keep building that. It's not going to go away. And that's more converse to Clubhouse. As I justify them both. Clubhouse, I'm still there, but I'm more being an asset to somebody else. Before I was trying to start my own platform, but Jeff and Elisa, I just got tired. I was doing something like daily or every week. Not many people were showing up. It's just a different game. And I can't compete and I can't get tailwind, no pun intended, amongst other people who are there. So
get tailwind.
So Emily says this. She goes, Lisa, love your cat. I'm a feline veterinary nurse and a Pinterest VA. So great to hear about Clubhouse. We love these topics that we're able to dive in and being able to bring people like Ramon on. Trona, our friend Trona, who has been on before, she goes, honestly, this live has given me opportunities. After Mark Schaefer was on, I liked what he said, followed him, read his content, then attended his conference. I was volunteer at his next online conference, and we're friends now, thanks to Tailwind Live.
So who came up just now, Jeff? I just want to ask
Trona. Trona.
So Trona, Ramon's here. Ramon's the guest expert. And you said, I want to thank Mark Schaefer. I was at Mark Schaefer's conference. I read Mark Schaefer's book. Mark Schaefer's amazing. Mark Schaefer's great. Mark Schaefer's wonderful. And I'm the guest host. I got you. I just want to make sure I heard my ear. Sometimes.
It's all right. It's okay. She's been on. She is like one of our founding members. Yes. And yes, and she probably will follow you everywhere now and buy your book and go to your conference.
I bet she will.
Yes. So we are at the end of our time together, guys. Do not forget, and people ask this, and I'll put it on screen one more time to find out where this awesome planner is. You can go to bit.ly/pin planner 2021. That's all lowercase. It's all smashed together. And the Instagram version of that is bit.ly/instaplanner 2021. Go check that out. Totally free. We'd love for you to see that.
Unless you're Ramon.
Unless you're Ramon, and it's $9.99. But yes, so, and make sure you guys go check out smarthustle.com. Follow him everywhere. There's people have already said they're following him. They love his energy. So yeah, this has been a great show. Yeah. Thank you so much, Ramon. Elisa, so we got a lot of people saying, love this. So much great info. Rocky said, I didn't even know about Clubhouse. And he says, now I'm up to speed. And he thanks everybody again. And Christy said, I already joined his Facebook group. Going to stay on his energy level.
Christy, wow,
yes,
you made my day.
So,
wow.
Yeah. So, Elise, as always, I will let you have the last word.
Okay. So I just want to thank Jeff for inviting Ramon on the show, because now I know Ramon too, and I feel pretty fancy. But I also want to say thank you, Ramon. That was fantastic. And now I want to go on Clubhouse again. I was kind of a little, little bored maybe, but now I want to go back. So thanks a bunch.
And with that, we will see you guys next time, same channel next week. With that, we will see you guys later. Bye, everybody. Love all of you. Bye.